In Paris 2 days ago, a knife-wielding maniac went on a rampage, injuring 4 and killing 1 person, and the Fox News reaction was of course boilerplate. When a Muslim is responsible for an act of terror, which fits the Muslims are bad narrative, it's all hands on deck to condemn. But what about when the Muslims are the victims?
Make no mistake, Hamas is pleased with the results from yesterday.
That's Nikki Haley, our UN ambassador. She's claiming that Hamas was responsible for the Israeli snipers killing 50+ Palestinians earlier this week. She also symbolically walked out moments later as the Palestinian envoy got up to speak, because why even try to appear as sympathetic to human lives when they're Muslim lives? And the reactions here in the US weren't much different, ranging from yes to hell yes to why can't we do the same thing to Mexicans here in America?
The news out of Israel yesterday was the fact that the Israelis were protecting their border and the Palestinians understood that there could be trouble, but nonetheless their leaders said, go ahead.
Okay, one, it's not a real border. Israel holds Gaza under occupation in the world's largest open-air prison with a fence on the land and a blockade by the sea. They control all the goods that come into this landmass and routinely abuse the citizens, claiming that they're fighting Hamas. And two, this doesn't excuse IDF snipers from essentially conducting target practice on countless innocent Gazans, including children and paramedics who were protesting this never-ending occupation.
Precautions were taken, but if someone's determined to create unrest with these great numbers, what are you supposed to do?
Great question. Here are some simple solutions. Stop the occupation, stop settlement building in the West Bank, and definitely stop shooting at the people near the fence you made and then restart peace talks. But for that to happen, you'd have to treat Palestinians as human beings, and it's obvious to me that cynical conservatives and even some Democrats do not.
These Hamas-inspired protesters, they've been throwing firebombs and stones. Now, Israel has a right to defend itself.
Okay, how about the Palestinian right to self-defense? Look, I'm not saying that either side is completely innocent, but it is insane not to admit how disproportionate the violence has been. Like, this brutality transcends ethnic background, religion, and creed. Any reasonable human being should be able to criticize this level of unjust violence. For many Palestinians who grew up under this occupation, there's no hope for a future. There's no end to this conflict. Moving this US embassy to a city Muslims, Jews, and Christians all hold holy is the most important symbolic stance that the US could take, effectively communicating that the US policy is that this conflict will only end when all Palestinians magically disappear. You know, a final solution. So yes, I'm not discounting the notion that some join Hamas for a sense of purpose, to do something, anything to liberate their people. But for many, these non-violent marches seek to show the world the barbaric treatment Palestinians have to endure every day. And this isn't even new, it's just an extension of Nakba. But for some, it's similar to the Buddhist monks self-immolating to protest the Vietnam War. They know Israel will retaliate with brute force. They want us to know. They want us to see. And as a Muslim, I can tell you that the oblivious reactions from the West to this brutality have a purpose. It's to strip Muslims of their humanity to justify the violence against them. And if you've ever experienced oppression or discrimination of any kind, as a Jew, as a woman, as a member of the LGBT+ community, as a person of color, or even as a white man, then you should be familiar with these tactics, because it's impossible to acknowledge the brutality when you don't see an entire group of people as human beings to begin with.